it's Brittany. So today is going to be a back in time watches video, and today I'll be looking back on the first time that I've watched Back to the Future. And I remember the first time I watched it was actually, I would say probably when I was a teenager. I would say 13 at the time. And I remember when I was first watching Back to the Future at the time, I just completely loved it because I think that was like the very first time travel movie that I've seen. Cause yeah, I don't remember watching any time travel movies at a young age. Quite little, but I think as a teenager, that was like my first one, and I loved it. The first time watching it, and it was just great because it has these different things in it. You get time travel, you get some humor in it, you have romance, and you have some cool action sequences as well, including with Marty, hanging on to Biff's car on his skateboard. So that's a nice one. I like that scene. And you get these different things to it here and there. You get, like I say, you have some humor in it, you have romance, especially between he's trying to match his mom and dad, trying to get them back together. And yeah, you got all these different things in it that just make it really great and very entertaining to watch. And it's just this very enjoyable time travel movie. And yet what I love about it is that he goes back in time to the time when his parents were teenagers in the 50s. And now he didn't do this willingly. He ended up there because, now of course, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Back to the Future. If you don't want to know, please click away. For those who have seen it, stay. Now of course, after witnessing his best friend Doc, Emmett Brown, getting shot, he is in shock, and he ends up in the DeLorean, which is, the time machine. Well, in this case, the time traveling car. So, yeah. And so when he ends up there, he turns, turns on the gear. But what he doesn't know is that because these people who shot his friend are chasing him and they're trying to kill him. And yet he doesn't know that when he moved the switch, that it turned on it turned on that where you would set the time to where you want to time travel to. So he did not know that, because of course he is, at this point he's afraid, and he's just trying to get away from them. But then the moment he hits 88 miles per hour, that's when he ended up going back in time, which was November 5th, 1955. So of course he didn't realize where he was until later, until he saw his parents as teenagers. So, and of course that's how it all happens. He does not do this, okay, so when he does this, it's not because he wanted to. It wasn't his intention to go back in time, but he did. But it's a good thing he did, though, because if he hadn't ended up going back to 1985 at the end, then his friend and the likable character that we all know of Dr. Emmett Brown, he would not have lived, and we would not have seen him alive towards the end of the movie. So, in other words, it's a good thing he did, even though without knowing what was going on. So, yeah, but I just remember first time watching it, I was, now of course, I was completely shocked seeing how, Christopher Lloyd playing Dr. Emmett Brown, who will become this very likable character, within the Back to the Future trilogy. But yet seeing him being killed off so early in the movie, I did not expect it. And I remember feeling what Marty was feeling, because he was in shock and I was in shock too. My mouth dropped and I'm like, oh my gosh, like seriously? We just see a character being killed in this movie, and somehow I thought, wait, what is this? I thought this was like a family fun movie, but seeing that, I thought, where is this going? So I had no idea where the movie was gonna go into. But then seeing how these people were gonna kill Marty, and all of a sudden he ends up in a DeLorean, and then he turns, he moves the switch, but then that time thing, the time circuits went on. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, it went on, and so when it showed that, it's like, oh, he just may end up going back in time. And so of course, seeing how he ends up going back in time, and to the specific time that his friend Doc, told him about him slipping on his head, but he remembered that day correctly, which was November 5th, 1955. And I was just like, is that a coincidence? Or somehow maybe it was just somehow meant for him to go back to that specific time without him knowing it. And so of course, just seeing that, I was like, okay, so it's like, even though now he's in 1955, but yet the events that took place in 1985, that's probably still present. And of course, things just get more interesting and funny along the way, especially with Marty, who's a teen, but in 1985, but ends up in 1955, and then seeing his parents as teenagers, which is a whole different thing to experience. And what's funny but yet awkward is that his mom as a teen sees her son as a teenager, but of course she doesn't know that Marty's her future son. And yeah, she sees him and she really starts to like him. She starts to crush on him and everything. She starts to act flirty with him. And it's just so awkward to see. It's very awkward. And yeah. And then of course, we see his dad as a teenager, and of course we see how Marty's trying to match his parents, try to get them together. Yeah, it's just all these things going on, and yet it's just funny and entertaining. But yeah, I just remember just laughing, but also just really enjoying it, and I'm like, wow, like this is great, and I just remember just really, really getting into it and just really enjoying it and just loving every minute of it. And of course, I love the cast as well. Like, all of them are great. Like, Christopher Lloyd as Emmett Brown, and Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, and Leah Thompson as Lorraine, and Crispin Glover as George. So yeah, you get all these, you get this great cast, and yet their performances are so well done because it's like when you watch it, you just feel like you're really pulled into it. And I love time travel. I do. I love time travel movies. So seeing this, yeah, was my first like time travel movie, and I just loved it. And I still do. I still love Back to the Future. So the first one is, in fact, my favorite. So yeah, so I just remember how even seeing how his parents, did ended up together, and seeing how it ended and how he went back in time in 1985, and seeing how now, of course, at first when he witnesses his friend, Emmett Brown, getting shot again, and this time we see he looks sad because he thought he could have at least changed just that one thing, when going back. And so just when he saw his, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but seeing him, so when he just went back, I think he saw his past self going to 1955, but then him that just came back from 1955, he's now in the present. So seeing his other self is his past self, if I'm correct. And so after that, and after that car crashes, well, van, and then after that, then he goes up to Emmett Brown, and so when he turns him over, he thinks he's gone, and that somehow he didn't try to save him, not even by writing him that letter when he wrote it in the cafe, so just when he thought if he had read that letter, that could have saved his life. But it turns out that this time his friend, isn't dead like he was before, but then now he's not. Because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. So when he sees him alive, he's, shocked, to see him alive because he thought he was gone. So when he revealed of him wearing the bulletproof vest, I think he said he was relieved. So of course seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember seeing that. Where when he turned him over and when it looked like he died, I was like, oh no, like there was nothing that could have saved him. And I thought if he could have read that letter, that could have saved his life. But then just when he was, starting to cry over him, then all of a sudden he, hit, he blinks, and all of a sudden he gets up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's alive. And and then even Marty, he was like, you're alive? And he reveals the bulletproof vest. I'm like, oh gosh, he read the letter. And so when he revealed that he did in fact read the letter, and I think he took that into precaution that when that time comes, that, his life would be spared. So seeing that, I was like, oh gosh. And yeah, even I felt relieved, like, okay, he did not die this time. He made it, like, he's alive. So yeah, so that was one thing that was different and that changed. Yeah, I like that though. But again, so my first time experience watching Back to the Future was just this very entertaining and amazing time traveling movie experience. and I just enjoyed it. There are those moments where I laughed and those moments where I just was really enjoying it, which I still do, and I still love it. So yeah, and ever since then, I still love it. I still love watching the first one. It's actually my favorite, and of course, I still like 2 and 3. I don't know if we'll ever get a 4. I don't know, but at least we still have, you know, 3, and that's still good. And hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know who was the first time you watched Back to the Future. But yeah, it was a very fun, very enjoyable experience, and even I still watch it, it's still very enjoyable and just really great to watch. But yeah, I love time travel movies like that. I really do. And I wish there could be more time travel movies like Back to the Future in that way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and there'll be more soon. But yes, I'll try to do videos as much as I can. And to see more movie content and other fun videos, and subscribe, click the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. And yeah, and let me know what was the first time you watched Back to the Future. And yeah, so let me know. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.